It's the last Friday of Child Month, and you are just in time for today's edition of Jamaica Magazine. In the show, we continue to highlight measures we can all take to protect and care for all children during our fight against COVID-19. So don't move a muscle. I'll be right back.
I know I can be what I wanna be. If I work hard at it, I'll be where I wanna be. I know I can be what I wanna be what I wanna be. If I work hard at it, I'll be where I wanna be.
Sign with me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Sign with me.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, his Canadian counterpart Justin Trudeau, and United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Thursday, May 28, co-convened a special virtual high-level panel to look at the action required to mount a robust and coordinated response to the devastating economic and human impacts of COVID-19. Over 50 heads of state and government responded to the invitation to participate at the high-level event. 6 thematic working groups have been established comprising representatives of government, international financial institutions, and other key actors. Their mandate is to build on the ideas that emerged from the discussions with a view to developing concrete solutions to address the crisis. Learn more from Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
I'm pleased with the spirit of determination exhibited today by global leaders and institutions. We have committed to rescuing our economies and societies from the devastating economic and human impacts of COVID-19 and to emerge as more resilient societies. What is abundantly clear from our exchanges is that the COVID-19 pandemic has triggered an unprecedented global development emergency. The magnitude of the shock from this pandemic has weakened our resilience and threatens to erode our hard-earned gains in pursuit of the Sustainable Development Goals. As co-conveners, we are keen to support the important follow-up work that working groups will be undertaking in line with the key areas explored today: global liquidity and financial stability, debt vulnerability, private sector creditors engagement, external finance for inclusive growth, illicit financial flows, and recovering better for sustainability. These groups will be comprised of member states supported by the UN Development System in partnership with relevant international organizations, financial institutions, think tanks, thought leaders, and civil society actors. I am encouraged that we have achieved what we have aspired to do at this global dialogue, which is to set in motion a process to identify concrete solutions to the various challenges presented by the COVID-19 crisis. We, the conveners, value the views and perspectives that were expressed today, which will inform the process of creating a global response to the most challenging crisis of our time. We call on all key actors in this process to take decisive action to ensure that all countries recover and emerge stronger and more resilient from this unprecedented crisis.
In today's show, all you need to know about the novel coronavirus and how we can combat it. Knowledge is power, so ensure that as you tune in, you pay keen attention to the facts you didn't know before and share them with your children and loved ones.
Coronaviruses are a large family of viruses found in both animals and humans. Some infect people and are known to cause illness ranging from the common cold to more severe diseases such as Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, MERS, and Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome, SARS. Research reveals that SARS-CoV was transmitted from civet cats to humans in China in 2002 and MERS-CoV from dromedary camels to humans in Saudi Arabia in 2012. A novel coronavirus, novel meaning new strain of the coronavirus not previously identified in humans, was identified after an outbreak was reported in Wuhan, China in December 2019. It has subsequently spread to a number of other countries through human-to-human contact, and the World Health Organization has since officially named it COVID-19. The incubation period for viruses is the time between infection and the start of clinical symptoms of the disease. Based on information from other coronavirus diseases, such as MERS and SARS, the incubation period of the 2019 novel coronavirus, or COVID-19, is determined to be up to 14 days. As with other respiratory illnesses, this disease can cause mild symptoms, including a runny nose, sore throat, cough, and fever. For coronavirus generally, the person is most infectious when displaying symptoms. It is difficult to identify COVID-19 based on symptoms alone, as they are typically the same as infections of the flu or cold. A laboratory test is therefore needed to confirm if someone has the coronavirus. The infection can be more severe for some persons and can lead to pneumonia or breathing difficulties. More rarely, the disease can be fatal. Older persons and people with pre-existing medical conditions such as asthma, diabetes, and heart disease are deemed more vulnerable to becoming severely ill with the virus. The new coronavirus spreads primarily through contact with an infected person. It spread through respiratory droplets generated when a person coughs or sneezes, or through droplets of saliva or discharge from the nose. To prevent spread, it's important that everyone practice good respiratory hygiene.
It's a similar respiratory precaution as we would take for influenza.
For example, sneeze or cough into a flexed elbow, or use a tissue and discard it immediately into a closed bin. Washing your hands frequently with soap and water or using an alcohol-based hand sanitizer eliminates the virus if it is on your hands.
Washing of hands is very, very important because any kind of droplets that get on your hand, you can transfer to your face, and you can therefore get it into your ear passages or into the eyes and cause an infection.
When someone who is infected with a respiratory disease like COVID-19 coughs or sneezes, that person projects small droplets containing the virus. If you are too close, you can breathe in the virus.
The general precautions in terms of making sure that you keep your distance, 3 feet is what we recommend.
Keeping this distance between yourself and other people, particularly those who are coughing, sneezing, and have a fever, helps to prevent those persons who don't have the virus from getting it.
If you are sick, to stay away from other persons, that means not going to work or school.
Someone who is coughing and sneezing should wear an approved mask where necessary.
Wearing a mask is only for the sick or for medical persons who are doing a procedure. Actually, if you go ahead and wear a mask, you might be the one who would get the infection. Because you put on a mask and you see it happening, they put it on, they start sweating, they start playing around with the mask, it's getting moist, it allows the infection to get in easier. So you are actually exposing yourself. And so we have to be very careful how we use masks and other protective equipment.
Data collected by the WHO so far suggests that the coronavirus may survive a few hours on surfaces, and applying disinfectants to surfaces can kill the virus, making it no longer possible to infect people in this way. To avoid getting infected, Do not touch your eyes, nose, or mouth after touching any surface. Inform healthcare providers of any overseas travel in the 14 days before your symptoms developed, or if you've been in close contact with someone who has been sick with respiratory symptoms. To date, there's no specific medicine recommended to prevent or treat the new coronavirus or COVID-19. But persons infected with the virus should receive appropriate care to relieve and treat symptoms, and those with severe illness should receive optimized supportive care. Remember, practice good respiratory and hand hygiene.
Up next, a recap of some of the measures being taken by the Ministry of Health and Wellness to reduce community spread of COVID-19.
Health workers on the front line in the battle against COVID-19 are providing a valiant service. One of their most critical tasks is contact tracing. This involves going into communities to find persons who may have come in contact with individuals that have tested positive for COVID-19. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says this has been effective in helping to contain the coronavirus outbreak in Jamaica.
I am convinced now more than ever that the most effective weapon that we could employ to dealing with COVID is found in you here and the rest like you throughout Jamaica who have to go out in the hot sun, in the rain, go to people's yards, deal with the dog if the dog are back, deal with people who may be resistant, take the risk, the public health risk, the personal risk, to do the temperature checks, to do the interviews, and I am fully convinced that your work is what has really contributed to the number of cases being contained in the country. Your work is absolutely vital.
The spirit of goodwill and courage in the fight against COVID-19 continues to spread with an increase in corporate support. Unicomma Quartz Jamaica Limited is the latest company to lend its support with a donation of 20 state-of-the-art hospital beds to the Ministry of Health and Wellness. The beds, valued at $3.5 million, were handed over on May 8 at the Unicomma Distribution Center in Kingston.
These medical beds are going to be quite useful. In Jamaica today we have about 4,000 beds across our hospital network, just about or a little over that. With COVID we have seen and we expect a lot more hospitalization, and as a consequence additional capacity, because outside of COVID there are so many other things that we have to do and so many other persons in different areas who require hospital care.
When you compare to what else has happened across the world in so many countries, what we have in Jamaica is phenomenal in terms of how we've been tackling this. We will continue to push and to support what's necessary to ensure that this COVID gets out of Jamaica as quickly as possible.
In a move to ease the economic burden brought on by COVID-19, the National Water Commission (NWC) has granted a 30% discount to residential customers with outstanding balances more than 90 days in arrears. The NWC is offering a waiver totaling approximately $50 million in reconnection fees for customers whose service was disconnected prior to the announcement of the first confirmed case of COVID-19 in Jamaica. These represent a total rebate of about $1.5 billion. The initiative, dubbed the Biggest Wave, will see the discount reflected in the utility bills of some NWC customers for the period May 6 to July 31, 2020. An estimated 31,000 customers are being targeted under the initiative.
We recognize that with the financial constraint, we have a category of customers, approximately 19,000 thereabout, who would normally make payment to the NWC but would not necessarily make payment in full all the time. And so we understand that there would be even more challenges to those customers during this time when persons are being laid off or are losing their job.
To promote social distancing, persons are directed to use the NWC's iPay payment portal on the company's website, nwc.com, or to pay their bills at external payment agencies. Persons are also encouraged to utilize the NWC drop box at parish offices.
An important message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. What to do if you think you have been exposed or are experiencing signs and symptoms of COVID-19. Immediately call 888-1-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. In addition, you should stay at home. Don't go to work, school, or any public place. Do not use public transport, and avoid visitors to your home. You may need to do this for up to 14 days to reduce the spread of the infection. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Though the government's current work-from-home policy will expire in just a few days, most children will remain at home until school reopens in September. It means parents and guardians who are returning to work must ensure adequate precautionary measures are in place to safeguard their children from all accidents such as poisoning from harmful substances. Here's more on that particular issue.
Limiting our household's risk to COVID-19 has increased our storage and use of certain products, which may be harmful when misused. Disinfectants such as bleach, rubbing alcohol, vinegar, and hand sanitizers, though used increasingly to protect against the novel coronavirus COVID-19, can cause poisoning. So too the misuse of medication, dish soap and laundry detergent, toilet and drain cleaners, polishes and waxes, all-purpose cleaners, insect sprays as well as shampoos and conditioners, nail polish and nail polish removers, makeup and lotions. Once you've used sanitizers such as bleach, store in a cupboard with a lock. If items are discarded in the bin, take out the garbage promptly as fumes may build. Children should always be supervised when using soap and hand sanitizers. If you've used cleaners to sanitize children's toys, be sure to let them air dry before they are returned, and keep cleansers in their original bottles, not in food containers. Never mix household cleaners as they can cause noxious fumes. When using certain chemicals such as bleach, turn on the fan. Open doors and windows to aerate the area. And be sure to wear gloves, long-sleeve shirts, long pants, socks and shoes when using certain chemicals such as pesticides. Improper use of prescription and over-the-counter medication, multivitamins and other pharmaceuticals could result in organ damage or death. It's especially important to properly store these and other potentially harmful substances away from children's reach. Store medication in a chest. Don't share prescription medication. Never take more than the recommended dose of medication. Before administering medication, properly read labels. Store medication in its original container, and be sure to dispose unused and expired prescription drugs. A member of your household may be suffering from poisoning if he or she has burns or redness around the mouth and lips or along the hands and legs, smells of chemicals, has difficulty breathing, nausea, diarrhea or vomiting, is experiencing drowsiness or confusion, dizziness, blurred vision or headache, as well as rapid heart rate or low blood pressure. If you see these symptoms, call the police 119 numbers or the Caribbean Poison Information Network at 876-537-5564. When you make contact, be sure to have the age and sex of the person, the poison taken, and the symptoms the person is exhibiting. While you wait for help to arrive, here are some tips you can use. If the poison has been ingested, remove anything that's still in the victim's mouth. Don't induce vomiting or give the victim a drink or food unless told to do so by emergency responders. For eyes which have come in contact with poison, open and close eyes while rinsing with low pressure water for at least 15 minutes. Victims of inhaled poison should be taken to get fresh air immediately. And those who've been exposed to poisoning on the skin, remove contaminated clothing and rinse skin for at least 15 minutes. We know these are trying times, and with children being at home throughout the day, their curious nature is increased and they go exploring. That's why it's important that as a family, we are extremely vigilant in ensuring our children are properly supervised and cleaners and medicine are stored out of their reach.
We are children and we have rights. We have a right to be
Protected
provided for,
and included. Don't beat me up. Don't belittle me, and please don't molest me.
I am under 13. I should not be working for a living.
That is child labor. It is illegal. Stop leaving me alone. I am too young to provide for myself. I need your guidance.
Protect our nation's children. They have rights too. To learn more about children's rights, call or visit the offices of the Child Development Agency.
Hand sanitizers have become one of the new must-haves since the outbreak of COVID-19. Whether indoors or outdoors, this antibacterial agent is in use more than before. As the demand increases, numerous companies and individuals are finding easy, cost-effective ways to replenish their supply. Here's one idea you have to try.
Hi there, thanks for joining us. I know, like myself, some of you are working from home. As you can see, I've turned my dinner table into a makeshift office, and I always have my trusty hand sanitizer with me. It's finished, so we're going to make homemade hand sanitizer. We have a 4-ingredient hand sanitizer. The most important ingredient is alcohol, and it has to be 62% volume or above, and aloe vera. And we have vitamin E oil and an essential oil, just to make it smell nice. So follow me into the kitchen. First things first is to turn our aloe vera leaf into aloe vera gel. It's not going to have the same consistency as the aloe vera gel that you'd buy in the store, but I trust this over store-bought because you don't know what they put in it. So first things first, wash it, and then we put it in our blender to smoothen it out. What we're aiming for is a 1/3 cup of aloe vera gel / juice and 2/3 cup of alcohol. We're doing it 2 to 1 because the most important ingredient is the alcohol. Now that we've blended our aloe vera, we're going to put a 1/3 cup of the aloe. Wow, my measurement is on point, man. Whoa, just right. But as I said, the main and most important ingredient is this right here, the alcohol. We're going to use 2/3 cup of alcohol to 1/3 cup of the aloe vera. I have here my measuring cup and I'm going to pour 2/3 of the rubbing alcohol into the cup. And I'm going to add 1/3 of the aloe vera gel. For some persons, this will do, but for me, I want to add some vitamin E oil, so as to give a little more softness for the hands. So I'm going to put 2 to 3 drops of it because it's thick. As I said, this is optional, or you could use glycerin if you have it at home. Then the next one is the essential oil. I chose tangerine because I like that smell. And I'm going to add maybe 6 to 8 drops. And it's purely for cosmetic purposes. It doesn't add anything. As long as you have the rubbing alcohol, you should be good. Then I will just mix them together. In a clean container, after you mix the ingredients together, you pour Now that we've made our homemade hand sanitizer, the only thing left to do is to try it out. Very moisturizing. Wow. It's very strong too. Smells a lot like the alcohol with a tinge of the tangerine. So you can try it out right there in the comfort of your home.
To properly carry out a hand rub, apply a palmful of the product in your cupped hand, covering all surfaces. Rub your hands palm to palm. Rub your right palm over the back of your left hand with interlaced fingers and vice versa. Rub your hands palm to palm with fingers interlaced. Rub the back of your fingers to opposing palms with fingers interlocked. Rotationally rub backwards and forwards the clasped fingers of your right hand in your left palm and vice versa. Once your hands are dry, they are now safe.
And that's all we have for you today on Jamaica Magazine. Thanks for browsing. As we go, do remember you can rewatch today's program on our website, jis.gov.jm, as well as our YouTube channel. While you're at it, go ahead and follow us on all the social media platforms for the latest news and information. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Have yourselves a great weekend.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.